Hey, Uros. Did I say that right? Because you
You
just teach me
say
before.
perfect, yes.
Uros, welcome to lunch day.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Do you have a nickname? It's always Dago or
Yeah, it's
Dagobert?
Dago. Yeah, Dago is the nickname. Yeah. I used to not say that. I mean, in France, people call me Dago, but like, because I know it's like a slur in America for making fun of Italians, like Dago. Dago is super insulting for Italian people. It's like a big slur, big racist thing, like in New York, like, oh, all of these fucking Dagos. That means all of these Italians in a
The
bad way. So I was always afraid to say, that this is the way people should call me. So I try to say Dago, not Dago, you know.
okay.
I, s- to
You're
try to get away from that, you
uh,
know.
a little bit on
But yeah,
the A, the different one.
yeah. But like in Europe, people don't know this, so it's fine. But yeah, so
In Europe, you're a king, right? Your name comes from a king.
yeah, that's it. That's also the name of this duck in Donald Duck,
Oh,
like
yes.
the duck with has lots of money.
Yes.
It's Dagobert Duck. So I mean,
No.
it's funny because in France it's not his name. So I learned this only 5 years ago that this was actually the name of the duck. So
Did you when you learned that, did you feel now like you're more entitled to the riches?
exactly, yeah. I think finally I can make some money, like because yeah. Because actually the king in France is like a joke. Like my dad named me. That's quite of like kind of depressing if I get into it. But like my dad, it was a joke for him. It's not like a cool king. It's not like Louis XVI or like not a cool French king. It's like a king that people used to make fun of, and so nobody has this name because it's a kind of joke
All
for
right.
kids. And my dad thought it was fun to give me this name, and he also gave me nine names because he thought whatever.
Nine
So yeah,
names.
yeah, I have nine names. Yeah.
So wait, on
Uh,
the documents, the official documents, you have nine names.
so on my French ID card, they didn't have enough room, so there's only seven. But on the passport, there is nine. But when I go to the airport to scan my passport, it doesn't work because they had to make the font size smaller. But somehow their software, it's the same font size for everything. So it's font size is small on my whole passport because the name had to fit. So I cannot scan my passport at the airport. It doesn't work. So yeah.
So what do you do? Then you print the big one, the A3 paper, and then you bring it with you.
No, I just have to go to the fucking manual thing.
Fuck.
But maybe I should do that. Yeah. So yeah. Uh and what does Uros
So
mean?
this is the
What's the
funny, like,
origin? What's the country? Sounds like some Swedish or Danish thing.
oh,
Ha.
sweet. Maybe it's because of the hair. No, no,
Maybe.
the so actually what you said now makes it even more funny because my name, so it originates from Serbia,
Okay.
and in Serbia, the last king, like back in the days, that was the name of the king. So it was basically the how do you say, the one that ended up breaking the whole kingdom.
Wow.
So he was basically the weakest link. That's the basically story.
Oh
But
shit.
then I was so that's why it's like so, it's funny because it's somehow connected with the names that it's like the low class kings.
But it's funny because when you hear Dagobert, that sounds kind of awesome if you
Yeah,
don't know the story. And it's the same with Uros. I imagine this crazy strong guy. So, we
there was
shouldn't tell the story probably.
yes, there were different names. Like usually people had like multiple names, and the name was basically again strong. But because of the whole thing with the past, then it ended up on him, and he had that name, and that's why that story.
Yeah, yeah.
But I read like somewhere also in like the origins of the name, the UR is from Hungarian that means sir. So I'm like a sir.
Yeah.
So there's like different scenarios, but somehow I'm also not proud of the name because whenever I say, people have struggles to say the name. So then when
Mm.
I was traveling in the States, I was going with Ross, and then it just like, oh, Ross from Friends. And then everybody remembers, instead of remembering my name three times. and they get it
There was a,
wrong.
t- a ta- taxi driver in USA. He thought my name was Taco Bell and not Dagobert. But at least he remembered, you know. So yeah.
Damn.
What's your
Okay.
name? Dagobert. Taco Bell?
Taco.
No, Dagobert. Okay, whatever. Yeah.
Ooh.
So
Then, actually, let me do the reverse question then. So now that you had like you're doing this, this is now your show.
yes, it is. It's a show now.
So tell me then, how do you feel every time when you have a like a call like this with someone? Like, did you imagine when you were creating this that it's gonna be like in this way, that it's gonna go big, that like let's say you're gonna have some emotions about it? I wanted to ask you that. That's why I asked you before. Can I ask the questions?
No, yeah. You asked me before this call. Can you ask me? No, there's no problem. I'm just like, You mean emotions about? Well, I'm just gonna say, and you let me know if you have another question. So when I do these calls, it's funny because deep down, let's say in my heart, it's been years that I want to. I love the community thing. I love being with friends on X, I mean Twitter, or um, and that's what I love the most. And I remember 1.5 years ago, before thinking of this product, I wanted to make a Twitter alternative just for indie makers. But it seemed impossible. I didn't see how I could do that, how I could pull it off, so I didn't do it. Then I stumbled upon this Product Hunt competitor idea. But the more I worked on it, the more it became less like Product Hunt
Yeah.
and more like a community, because that's what I want to do. That's what's in my heart, you know? And so it ended up being focused on the interviews more than on the products. And now it's a balance between both. And there's also a Slack community that you will be invited to just after this call. And that's actually quite alive already, which is cool. And so, yeah, how I feel is I feel like I'm connecting with somebody else from the indie maker space and that I'm creating community. That's the thing I feel. I feel like I'm creating a community. I'm helping create this community. And not just not just launch day as the community, but like it's helping even for, that people can see you, can meet you, I meet you, everybody meets you through that.
Yes.
And same with everybody else who comes on. That's creating bonding and connection, between people. That's how I feel about it. That's the thing. Yeah. Not sure if that answers what you meant, but you can ask me
It
a
does.
follow-up
It
question if you
does.
want.
I'm gonna ask you, I think you already answered it, but I wanna like just pinpoint it. Do you feel that now you connect more with yourself? There's a reason why I ask you this question. I'm gonna connect
Oh.
it in a bit. But do you
So,
feel
yeah, I think yes, because I think this need for community is because I need it, as I miss it. I want to be with friends. I feel in my hometown of Lille, there's nobody. I don't have an indie maker community. There's nothing. There's used to be one guy, but he moved around all the time, so he's not there anymore. And so there's a small community, but they're not like really the same vibe as the Twitter indie makers. So I feel quite lonely. And so by doing this, like every time I do these calls, I feel more real somehow. It makes it more real. My journey becomes more real. Because if it's just me alone in my journey, it can become quite abstract. And I can get lost also on social media, on X, and start disconnecting a bit from myself and start tweeting random shit because I feel kind of, which is not really good, not even for me. I don't know. Sometimes it's just like, I just feel, I'm just going a bit crazy for being so lonely sometimes, to be honest. And so, yeah, this actually heals me to do that. And I hope it can do that to other people. And I think it does. But, you know, that's basically the thing. So yeah, it does help me reconnect with myself. Yeah.
Well, thank you for putting it like that. It's somehow it's the answer that I was hoping for. So
Oh, wow.
you
Cool.
delivered it exactly like in these, let's say, the way that I imagined. Why did I imagine it like this? So again, I saw a couple of other videos you did. I saw, like, I read books. I've been, let's say, in this creator space for a while. And there's always, let's say, when you sit down to create something, there's a reason for that. But a lot of people go on for something like, oh yeah, someone is building this, and then they see some huge chunks of money. There's like, I don't know, 20, 100K, all that stuff. And they're like, whoa, I'm successful. So all of that is nice. But from, let's say, my experience and from seeing other people, usually the things that end up being successful is just the result of the need that you have. Like usually people start building something because of money is always like down the list. Money is a nice to have, but it's more reasons than anything else that is connected anything with the wealth. So for example, now you did this for the feel of the community. There's also the feel that you do it for yourself. And I think a lot of founders, creators, they do, again, something. When they say scratching your own itch, that's like one thing. But then there's scratching your own itch, and then you actually feel satisfied when something is out there and then being used by the others.
It's like a spiritual itch also. It's not
Exactly.
just the, yeah.
So then you end up somehow creating something bigger than you are. And then what happens now after, like I'm telling this right now because I'm going through this phase right now.
Okay.
So a lot of people would end up building something, then they go to the point of like, hey, I built this, it's amazing, it's here. And then now it's supposed to be seen by other people, and then it gets stuck. And then you get a notion that it's not good enough, that it's like somehow, as I said, stuck. So then you start building more on it. And then by building more on it, you get more inside yourself again. Then the self-doubts, then all of the darkness that comes, the isolation that you mentioned. And then you again end up in this moment of like, oh, it fixed my itch, but it's not out there. I over-exaggerated this. I'm going to slim it down now. So, for example, I forgot the name of the guy who created those hexagon elements for the company.
Yeah.
He's
Daniel.
from Chile, but I forgot the name.
Daniel.
Yes. So
And the app is called Expandify. Yeah.
Nice.
From launch day number 3. You can
Yes.
go to launch day, past launch days in the bottom, and find it.
Nice. So that was for me also like one good example that he saw something and then he just like took it down there and then he created like his own approach to this. But then he went like full in. He went like all the way. And now with AI, it enabled him as you to just like expand. So there was also the moment where I was stuck that I didn't work on my project for a year, but it was still there. I didn't want to give up until I saw like what was made out of it. So now I'm basically here, and now I'm going like in this upstream hill. So it's funny because when I watched some of your videos, you also said that you had like a burnout and then you just like cut yourself off and then you needed to reset. So now you're here, you're building this.
Yeah.
So the point is, all the things that you did in the past, it was not for nothing. Even though it was maybe not how you imagined, you created the wealth from within you with the knowledge, with the amount of people, with the connections and all of that. So now you're in this moment that even before you launched your product, you already had people who were like thumbs up and who already gave you money to be in the show, not to give you money because I don't know, it's amazing, but they believe in you and then they support you in like you as a
Yeah.
persona instead of,
Yeah.
let's say, the product itself is just the outcome of all your values that you did in the past.
Yes. And it's the same with the wedding suit. Uh,
Yes.
it's really a way for people to support me and, in a bigger sense. Hmm. It's interesting what you said about people work and then they build it and it doesn't get received by people. And I think it's because of, when I was listening to you, it seemed obvious that the problem is lack of connection. Like you build in isolation, and we talk about marketing, and marketing is one thing, but there's also connection. Like, for example, me, I don't do a lot of marketing, I do a lot of connection.
Yeah.
But, and that means like being with people, talking with people, showing your work with people, getting feedback, but not just that, not just like being in the same vibe of people, seeing what they're doing, seeing what you're doing, talking with them, meeting them, even online like we do now. And that just puts you in a different spot than if you're working alone. And I know because I was building alone my previous startup for 2 or 3 years
Yes.
before doing any kind of social media with my ex wife, who was also my co-founder. Long story. But yeah, there's like this thing where it really changed me when I started doing 3 or 4 years ago and I started connecting. Like it's like a new dimension, like it's another dimension that is super important. And
Yes.
it's going to impact everything. It's not just about selling, it's about the ideas you have, the confidence you have, the motivation you have. It just has an impact on everything. And the idea of just like building something alone and you're going to launch it and people are going to give a shit. Sure, it's a marketing problem, but it's also a connection problem because the connection problem is deeper than just you need marketing. It's also, if you're not connected, you are unlikely to build it in a way that people care about because
Yeah.
it's not connected to helping anybody.
Yeah.
It's just an idea. But once it connects to people, then you can shape it so that it helps. And then people care about the product more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What were you thinking?
No, that's it. I think,
I wanted to add because exactly
yeah.
what you like described. That's why I asked you what were you thinking. So you go down a path, a certain path, and then there's, let's say, a lot of dark moments that a lot of people don't see that you're also passing. And like everything on the internet is like, fluffy colors, all that stuff. But then what happens in those like dark moments? Because, for example, for me, it was helpful to have a project that I was working on through those dark moments. So basically,
Mm,
it was helping me in everything else around me was like all over the place, breaking like completely out of my control. But this one thing was in my complete control. So I'm gonna, let's say,
mm,
try to connect with my story and then we can like do the ping pong. So I ended up creating this project because I always wanted to be in a, let's say, situation to create something useful. So to solve a certain problem. And it's, let's say, all the way when I finished the university, I needed like those skills to actually build something because when you build something, if it's a little bit more complex, you need a lot of knowledge that usually you don't get on the universities. So then you need to build yourself up or you find people who know something that you don't know. Again, it's so difficult if you don't have a network or if you're like in a certain university that has nothing to do with what you want to build in the future. So a lot of people
So
again
what
get.
did you want to build at the time, just to get some
So at a
context?
time there was like I found two colleagues. We sat down to build a product that was basically you have ideas, but you cannot find, let's say, other people with appropriate skills to build it. So for example, you have front end guys who need backend to create the whole
Okay, yeah.
system or anything like that. So it's a lot revolving around the idea. Then for me, the main point was I want to learn from this. So if it happens, it happens. It's nice. But if not, then at least I know how to work in a team. I know how, let's say, when things go difficult, what happens then? How do you communicate
Mm.
this with people? Because everybody thinks everything is amazing all the time and everybody sees the result. But then there's like always that picture of a iceberg that's only the tip out and then everything
Yeah.
else below. So I went through a lot of different, let's say, scenarios. I'm gonna try to speed up because now it's already 30 minutes. That's why I asked you before, how much do we have? Because I can go like in so many different directions.
No, yeah, for sure. I hear you. Okay, yeah.
Basically, I ended up doing this with them for a year and a half. One guy fell off because whenever we were like putting the goals, he just didn't do it for his personal reasons. The issue there was it was not a problem that he didn't do it, it was a problem that he didn't communicate it because then we can
Yeah.
organize different. And then he fell out of the team. Those two were bigger buddies than me and them too. So that was also a little bit difficult to see basically their friendship somehow happening between them. So it was difficult for me as well.
Yeah.
Regardless,
Okay.
everything, let's say, eroded in the end. I got my part of it. Like that part is also living in this project right now. But it was, let's say, a necessary path to go through that like dark period, like number one. There were
Mm.
different dark periods, but from every moment where I went through this, I took something out and then I put it in the position that it's gonna benefit me or like do
Yeah, it
things
seems
for
like you
me.
were aware of it from the beginning. Like even when you started the project, you were like, probably not gonna succeed, but I'm gonna learn a lot. You were already in the right mindset, I think. That's cool.
I probably cannot say I was like that from the beginning, but it was when things were, let's say, happening over the months. There's a moment where you need to, let's say, accept that this is the way, this is
Yeah, yeah.
the future of this, but I'm just gonna take, let's say, the benefit or the lessons. So it propelled all the way through. Again, I went, I got an internship in Germany. I ended up being a
Hmm.
developer. Then I saw like I like to create stuff, but as a developer, to be a very good developer, you need a lot of time invested, a lot of
Yeah.
skills, all of those. So I did build stuff. I worked for a company, and that was great. But I ended up liking more the UX design on how things work. What is the, let's say, the
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm the same. I was never a great developer, even though I did that for a long time. I think I was good, but not. I've met some great developers, and it's a different level. You know,
Yes.
you can see their brain works differently.
Yes,
Yeah.
I completely admire that, but I was completely aware I'm not that. So I'm not
Yeah.
gonna go that way. So then I switched careers. That was also pain because when you're in Germany, they ask you for the what university you end up with, like the references and all that stuff. And the only reference they had is from my own project and from the company that I worked for. So I luckily found a position. So that was great. That helped me a lot.
So as a
Then
designer, then.
as a designer. So I knew like I was still doing it at home, the development, but I was like the official title was product designer. And
Yeah.
then that was also interesting. Again, like I would imagine other people are going to listen to this, but I was in a position where my product design skills came from me. Like I was on the internet, I was learning, I was doing all the stuff. And then when I got into the company, they employed a colleague of mine who had 12 years of experience, and at that time I had 3.
Yeah.
So they took me as a junior and they took him as a senior. So when we ended up actually working together, most of the results that we, let's say, adopted for the product itself, it came from my Figma rather than his. So it was
Yeah.
the tweaks that were coming from his, but mine were like from all the things that I was playing around with. So
Yeah.
especially now in this world where you have access to so many things, you can see so many UX elements or like the product design themselves. So to go to a school, yes, it's useful if you're like, let's say you have different goals. But if you want to build something, again, at this age, it's completely different, even for like working for a different company. So I'm happy that that didn't stop me from getting the job.
But
And
also, you know, it's also, I think, an advantage of being a generalist. When you do many things, then it also gives you a wider knowledge. And so when you're gonna, you know, for example, I was talking about this on another interview I did about if you do UX design, it's the same kind of work as when you do storytelling or copywriting. It's
yes,
about taking people through a journey. So like if you, for example, find a passion for writing, it will make you a better designer. Or like if you code, then you will also know things that will be useful for designing. And being a generalist like this, you get like, which you never can have at school because school is to make you a specialist.
yeah,
I think it seems, uh, well, you know, that's how you can beat somebody, you know, you can produce better quality than somebody who has 12 years of specialist experience, but they're basically just very narrow. So there's probably some things they were better at than you,
yeah,
but in terms of vision, maybe it was less interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think like in the beginning, a lot of people get afraid. Again, I was at least when you're like missing some knowledge or you're missing some skills that you can't do it. Somehow now with the AI, it's much easier. Yes, but then there's again the the thing that I see in the AI. It's giving you the knowledge, but somehow you don't end up getting the confidence because you're just extracting the information in the best possible way you can read it. But if you don't, let's say,
And at
feel
least
it,
for me, there's also the fear that maybe it's wrong because
yeah,
the AI, so it's, you don't even have the confidence that it's 100% true. With code, it doesn't really matter because like if it's
yeah,
working, it's working.
yeah.
But if you're like doing research on something, it's kind of scary. Yeah.
I saw so many people that they come to me and they're like, "Oh, he said this," and I'm like, "Can you really just take it exactly as for granted? Like, there's no 1% of maybe I can check also this for myself because you
Yeah.
have the information and you can just fact check it." But they like it's been what 2.5 years, 3 years that it's like mainstream. People now completely believe it. Again, I'm not
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
it's wrong. It's just the wrong thing is that you end up not believing in yourself. To again connect this all the way to the beginning, how we started the conversation. Also, when you build your product, it's also this you're building something, but do you believe in it? And then that's the thing that keeps you through the all the difficult periods.
Yeah. And you need some conviction. And with AI, it's harder to get some convictions. Um, so since you are leading this interview, what do you want to talk about next for the 15 minutes that we have left? Do you want to show your product? Do you want to do something?
I can show my product. I'm just gonna um, let's say for this current situation that I'm in, it's very similar to let's say yours in the sense of I had let's say my life was kind of in a lockdown state. So
Mm.
I was living in Germany since originally I come from Serbia. The EU passport doesn't allow you to move around, like, or at least it doesn't give you a choice. So you cannot, if you now want to come and live, I don't know, in Spain, you can just pack your bags and you come, and that's it.
Yeah.
So for non-EU people, it's always a challenge. So I ended up, let's say, I wanted to get out, explore the world. I ended up in
But
Germany.
but wait. You could do that as a Serbian. In Serbia, you can do that, no?
No,
You're not in Schengen in Serbia?
that means only 3 months you can stay somewhere.
So, okay. So there's a difference. I didn't know. I didn't know not all EU passports were the same. Okay.
EU passports were the same. Serbia is not in the EU.
Still not?
Still not. So
So if I go to fuck, Serbia is not in the EU. It is. I had no idea, man.
there you go.
But Croatia is in the EU,
Correct.
but Serbia is not. Okay, I had no idea. Romania is in the EU. Oh my god.
Yes.
Okay, whatever.
Everyone around except 3 countries. But we don't go into politics. We don't need that.
I had no idea, man. Okay, cool. Didn't
The
know.
the thing is, my path went through this way. I ended up in Germany. I had, let's say, my fair share of working with Germans, German companies, and all that stuff, being in Germany as well as for the weather. And the point was, wait, I got lost for a second. Yes, because I was in a lockdown state. Lockdown state for me meant I needed to stay there, be employed until I get the citizenship. Once I got the citizenship, I can do something else. So there was like the dose of being blocked and dose of being in fear, because if I failed to stay in a company, there was like a rule that you had 3 months to find something new or you're all the way back. It doesn't matter how many
Yeah.
years you spend in the country.
And how long did you need to stay to get the passport?
I ended up staying 8 years.
But how long you need to get it? 5? In France, it's
So
4 years.
in Germany, up until June last year, it was 7 and 8. So you can go with a speedy one. Somehow you could do it in 6, but by default it was 7. Then they changed. So you can do it now in 5, but there are like some other requirements that, again, you need to have higher level of language, something.
Yeah.
The thing is, my path was like the old school way. I needed to get it in, let's say, 7, 8 years. So
Yeah.
now, from the beginning of this year, basically, I'm somehow free. So the thing
And do
is,
you have it, the passport? Do you have it?
I have the passport. I can get it from the room.
No, don't show it. Like it's dangerous for your data. But
No, it's just
you can
like the
just show the front. Yeah.
yeah, the front. But I was super grateful, but that also caused everything that I was working on the project to just like go under the radar, because that was the thing that I was working on is 5 years. So this is the thing that was constant for the 5 years, and now
Yeah.
it's here. So now that's why, again, I am trying to
Big
put
drop of
myself.
motivation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I get it. My burnout last time was after success, not after failure.
Yes.
I had burnout because after so many years, we were finally making money. And I was like, oh, that's all? That's it? And then I still had to work and I had no desire for it. And then, yeah.
That's I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I have I have a girlfriend now. Like, that's a recent thing as well. But her mindset is, she went through different things that build her up in the way that, basically how you said it right now. Because a lot of people think now you're successful, now everything is going to be easy. Both changes are changes for basically your nervous system. So whatever comes next, you need to adapt to that change. And you can also
Yeah.
get burnout from this. And a lot of people don't talk about this because they think now you're successful, you have the money, and then you don't need to think about this. But
Yeah.
to roll all the way back, the money is now, let's say, the outcome. But what was the thing that you wanted to get out of this? So that's why I asked in the beginning, what was the outcome that you wanted to do with these interviews? And this is, again, to connect with yourself. It's not for the money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I still need money though, and that's a bit of a challenge right now. Because when I started selling these spots on my wedding suit, I had this feeling again of making money, which I didn't have in a long time. Of like, people say, yeah, I want in. And I still have to convince them, some people. But I was just like, the first day I make 3K, second day I make 2K, then I make 3K. And I used to make more money like long time ago when I was a developer and shit. And I stopped chasing it. But at the same time, man, it felt so good when I started making, like, and so now I'm really trying to find a balance. Because I think the problem is project like launch day, if I just want to turn it into a money-making thing, it will probably damage it. Like like it happens to so many things. Like Product Hunt used to be cool, now it's kind of shit.
Yes.
IndieHackers.com, same thing. That's because people want to keep growing, 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 and so they dilute the proposition. And I don't want to do that. I want to keep launch day amazing and cool forever. But I know that by doing that, unlikely it will make a lot of money. And so it's fine as a project, it's fine.
Yeah.
I like the whole thing is fine with me. It's just that, wow, when I feel again what it's like to make money, I also want this. And I'm like, how do I solve this? Because one thing, I might be doing some things on the side. I had stopped doing that, but I'm like, maybe I should, because I mean, I didn't want to do that because I was kind of lost and I wanted to focus on my own thing. But now that I have found my thing, I feel more confident being able to do something else on the side.
Yes.
Without being distracted, because I know I'm doing launch day, and also because of this connection thing. It's not just my thing. Now it's the thing of, there's already, I think, probably 30 or 40 people who have done launch day now, who are part of the community, and like more people coming in. So now it's not just me. And because of that, it's easier to get it going and to stay kind of like connected to it, even if I do something else. So for a long time, I was scared to have a job or but now I kind of like see it. Maybe I need something. I need some way to get good money, because it makes me happy when I make a lot of money. It really does. I feel ashamed of saying it, but it really does make me happy. But I also don't want to damage my projects by just chasing money. For me, money is a fun game and it feels great.
Yes.
But it's not the end. It's just one thing I need.
Correct.
And so, yeah, that's kind of like my reflection this past couple of days. Yeah.
It's great that you put it again like that, because the important thing for you is to know where your values are. Again, now you said there's nothing bad in, like, again, having money. The thing is, again, my girlfriend mentioned, money doesn't make people bad. Money just, let's say, opens the door to the people of who they really are. So if you cannot handle, let's say, some huge amount or something like that, that's just like your true character, because then you haven't enabled yourself some different things that you couldn't do in the past. Let's say it removes probably that also fear of not having money or being stuck somewhere.
No, it happened to me last time because I used to make 100K a year with a job from a US company, living in my town of Lille, France, which is not expensive. So I was feeling very wealthy, at my level. And I remember it was changing me. Like, I was making less effort to be friends with some people, because I was less afraid of not being able to survive alone or shit. And I remember that. It's totally true. Like, when you have money, it's not that it corrupts you, it's that you stop being fake. And so then, well, let's hope you're not a piece of shit, but
Literally. So maybe that can also be, again, the option. You put a crowdfunding and you say, let's see if I'm shit. How much money ends up here? How much they're gonna unlock me of who I am? Let's say, we can talk about different things so much. I'm not gonna take, let's say, all the time. I can show now the product. We can always catch up afterwards. But let's say, as an intro to the product, my biggest challenge was I collect information and I save information that's of use for me. The problem is later I don't know where it is or I cannot retrieve it. So there's many tools on the internet that I tried, like you cannot imagine. Like I think one day
No,
I
yeah,
really need
me too, yeah.
to sit down, but none of them actually ended up the way how I think, or not the way how I think. It's just like the value that I need, because my value is it's there and I know I'm going to find it. There's a lot of tools that you can put there and you say, I know it's there, but whenever I need to find it, you get lost. So
Yep.
I
I'm
use,
really curious to see because I think I have this problem. I think many people have it. And I'm wondering if the way you solve it is the way I want it to be solved. Because as you said, I think the problem with these tools also is like 1,000 ways to solve this problem that are
yes,
compatible with different people also, you
yes.
know.
I show you right now, my goal is again, as a product designer, this was also my challenge to create something very, let's say, simple and straightforward. So again, now because it was under my eyes for so long. So this is basically the view that you're going to get when you log in, and
Yeah.
everything is in the shape of messages. So the concept is you message yourself, and then you have everything there in the shape of the message. The benefit of this is that all of the messages are modular, so you can add more information to the message itself. So if you save a link, you can also add a note, and then you can search for it later by whatever you see in the message itself. So either that be a URL, a description, or the note. So you can search for all of that. And this is
It's
the
smart because it's basically the best UX is messages, like just a feed. Like the simpler the better. So
correct.
I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you. The the reason why I did this is because it was funny. So since I've been working on this for 5 years, so I always imagined the future being in the message-based system. And then when ChatGPT happened, I was like, oh no, it's happening. So it was
Yeah.
there, but I simply didn't want to just like plug in the API to the ChatGPT and make it another ChatGPT wrapper. I paused for the hype, so maybe it's the wrong thing I did, but it was, again, my values behind this. I wanted this to be a tool and not just some AI something, whatever. So I appreciate there's a lot of AI tools that are very good, but I wanted to do this plus AI in a very good way. So let me do a short, I'm going to connect with the phone. So I'm going to do, let's say, the connection, how those two things work, and then you can get a little bit better explanation. So should be now there. Perfect. So let's do it like this. So for example, now we have like everything that you write, you just write it as a message. So had a cool meeting today. So now you send it, and the point is like
Hmm.
I don't want people to think where they're gonna organize or whatever. Everything ends up in the inbox. So as you see here, it ended up here. Or if you wanna like let's say call mom, you send a message and then you add a task to it. So now because these two are not completely synced all the time, so you make a task out of the message again after you do everything. So I don't need to go anywhere to organize. I'm just like dumping stuff in. So for example, let's say here I have this, let's say folder with you. Then again, what are you grateful for? This is the question you can answer yourself again off the video, and
Okay.
make sure your screen recording has permission. We did that, now it works. And this is what we already talked about. So for example, in these, let's say, since I've been working on this and I like small details, the thing that annoyed me a lot is if I want to select multiple messages, usually you need to go like one by one and all that stuff. So I tried different UX patterns that I haven't seen. So for example, if you select one and you select the last one, everything in between selects.
Yeah.
So those are like the small details. But the cool thing comes is, for example, now I have other things that I saved from you, let's say from your Twitter,
Mhm.
but I can't find it. So if I just now write Dago, so anything that has Dago in the links, I can find. So for example, here I have like
Mm.
some of the links that I saved from 2022. So I've been following you for a while.
I
And
see. Wow. Okay.
here,
Back
for
when I was doing daily memes.
yeah, yes. But basically now from here, you can just go in a tweet and then you can continue from that point on. So for example, let's say I find him useful and then I say, okay, this is cool. And then from here, you can also save stuff. So anywhere where you end up searching for stuff, you can save
I
from
see.
wherever page. And then again, it ends up in the inbox. You
And
get
how is this thing on the left? Is it manual? Do you use AI in any way? Because you talked about AI earlier.
so AI right now, no. The only AI that I have is here, for example, let's say Dagobert. I wrote it wrong, doesn't matter. Who is he? Then there's like these actions that, so here are these actions that you can open, and then you can open ChatGPT directly from there.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
But at one point, I want to, again, make the messages smarter so you can talk with the message and you can add, let's say, more different things. The transcription is
Yeah, I see.
already there, but I don't want to, again, build stuff just because it's cool. I want it to be useful. And all these things here, those are just like folders that you can move stuff to. So for example, I don't know, this one can go into Twitter and then it ends up being there. And you have folders for anything. So folders, sorry, filters. So for example, if you say, I don't know where something is, but I know that it was a link and that it had a to do. So anything that has a link and is a task, you can actually
And
find.
how did you make the task? How did you turn this into a task earlier?
So any message that you write, so let's see, who is he? So either you press on plus task, or in the message you can swipe,
Oh, yeah, okay.
or you can add it from here. Or in the UX, you can just press on plus and then you have it there. So yeah, the point is you just need to remember briefly what it is. Again, I don't need super AI smartness. You can just say, okay, the cool thing that it helped me a lot, let's say, that I missed in the cloud services is that if I had a file and it was a task, or I cannot task a file anywhere, so now I could do the tasks on the files, and you can add description to whatever.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean.
So this
Yeah,
is
I think,
basically the gist. Tell me.
yeah, because I have like some bookmarks in like Instagram and Twitter. The
So
always annoying thing is to have them everywhere. And this, I think this message UX is nice because you can basically just send it to yourself. Can you like send it like if you're like on Instagram and you want to send it to somewhere, how do you do that?
yes. So for example, let's go on Instagram. So you just go share and you just add it. So from here, you can already make it a task, add a note, or you can
Awesome.
move it
Yeah,
somewhere
that's
else.
basically what I was wondering, like, because it needs to be super easy, but once it's easy, then it's good.
Yeah. So now I think it should already be here. And the cool thing that I also have, yeah, so here it is I added, so there's also a plugin for the browser. So you get like the Luckynote icon, and whenever you
Yeah.
save, you can add notes. So add a task, and again, I can save it to the folder. So now it's again in the folder itself. So anything that you
It's really
save,
cool. I think it's like a, because, Evernote is something that was an amazing product that they killed, and
yes.
they need a replacement. I like this. I like this. I think I like the simplicity. Do you have users yet? I mean, we gotta end the call, but like, do you have how is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop the sharing. I do have, there's like 5,000 people who are registered,
Yeah.
5,500. So now I'm trying to, let's say, make the little bit more, let's say, marketing effort for other people to see
Yeah.
and then see the results. It's 58. Thank you for staying super long. We can text for anything further. You can stop if you want right now, but I'm super
Yeah, I'm
grateful for
inviting you to the Slack right now.
yeah.
We can continue. That was awesome to have you on launch day. And good luck. And please don't leave the call right away.
All
You
right.
know, but
Thank you, Dago, so much.
cheers.